Hello guys, welcome to my video series tutorial to learn bot framework using Python language. This tutorial we are going to learn about dialog concept, what is dialog, how to use it, what in dialog is one of the main concept in bot framework. It's not GUI something like that. It's a structure. Our function act like as a dialog so that we can easily specify the our work to specific operation. For example, in last tutorial we seen conversation state. In that one we take an example of user profile. So if you want to get the all the user information like that, we can create the user information dialog, order dialog. If you want to anything order, booking order, something like that, you can take order dialog, creating order dialog like that. That task we can put into the dialog so that it's easy to maintain and easy to reuse in another application or another bot. So that's the reason we are using dialog. And dialog also one of the solving problems. In last tutorial we see the user profile, no? So we are maintaining the conversation state. Just name, we are storing the conversation. So next we move to the phone number, then we are storing in the conversation. Like that is going. That also we can easily avoid using the dialog concept. We'll see which dialog helpful for that one. This is a dialog workflow. In the dialog set, we should add our all the functionality here, this place. We'll see this dialog set in code. But how get the data from the dialogues? So when the conversation is started, we have to check the dialog set, create context. So what is our current context? This guy returned that active dialog, which dialog is currently active. For example, if active dialog is null, we have to start the dialog. So using this begin dialog function, we have to start it, begin conversation, then dialog flow, it will go continuously. So once first dialog pop up like username, user response, again it will come back to here. We have to again call the create context. So this time this guy will return that next dialog. So if the active dialog is not null, then we have to continue this dialog. We have to execute all the dialogues or all the steps we have to execute. Once everything is done, then finally we have to call end dialog async. So these are the four main concept, and this active dialog one of the main concept. We'll see the example to easily understand this process, how it is going like that. And next is dialog types. Dialog types mainly classified into three different types. One is prompt, waterfall, component. Prompt dialog, the number of category here below is specified. The main uses of prompt dialog to get the proper input from the user. So this guy automatically validate the input from the user also. Let's say for example, you take the number prompt. If the no, we are asking user to enter the number, but user enters some not number, like the guy enters some string or any other special character, something like that, other than the number. So the prompt dialog automatically validate this one. Hey, we want to number prompt. We have to enter the number, something like that, not other than numbers. So that validation will taken care by the number. We can also add the validation also. Like for example, if enter the user phone number, let's say 10-digit number is required for the phone number. If user enter 8, so we can check the number of characters that they entered. In case if they entered 8, something like that, we can validate and we can throw the error message to the user is an invalid phone number, something like that. That is custom validation. We'll see later on this tutorial series. Like that, there are different types: date and time, confirm, choice, attachments, like that. And next one is the waterfall dialog. The main purpose of waterfall dialog is the maintain the sequence of conversation. As I said earlier of this tutorial, for example, if you want to maintain that conversation, phone number, name, email ID, something like that. Right now we are writing the conditions. If this phone number, then execute like that. Using dialog, that concept entirely is not required. We can tell to the waterfall dialog how the step execution steps should sorry steps to be executed. In the waterfall dialog, we specified first you should ask number. The number of functions we can derive from the waterfall dialog. So waterfall dialog take care of the step of execution one by one. So name, phone number, email ID, something like that. It will go how the way of steps we are organized in the waterfall dialog. Component dialog used for creating user-defined dialog. Like if they start application, we can create the user control. No? The same way we can create the component dialog. This one will learn. We'll talk about later on this tutorial, video series tutorial. Now I'll go to Visual Studio Code to write one sample for the dialog concept. Here I created one main file app.python file and created one empty file called bot_dialog. I'm just going to implement this sample. This sample we are going to get the username, phone number and email ID. First we have to import the bot builder core, import turn context and activity handler and conversation state. These are the main three modules we have to import. Create called class bot dialog should be derived from activity handler and create the constructor, pass as the conversation state as the argument. Store it con underscore state conversation. Fine. Now I am going to define my dialog set. In the dialog set, we have to tell what are the dialogues we are going to use. Text prompt or number prompt or attachment, or blah blah blah. Here, as I said earlier, we are going to get the username, mobile number and email ID. Username and mobile number is a text string format, so we are going to use text prompt dialog. Mobile number is a number, we have to use a number prompt. First we have to create the dialog set. The dialog set is available in the bot builder dialogs. If you not install the pip package for dialogs, please download and insert bot builder dialog SDK. In that one I'm just import dialog set, creating the dialog set object, dialog set. While creating the dialog set, state property accessor is needed. Or default is a null. Okay, but we'll pass it argument also so that in future if it's required we can use it. To create the property, state prop should be derived from the constructor. Sorry, conversation. So self dot constate dot create property called dialog set. So we'll pass it here dialog constate. It's sorry state proper. Next we have to define the dialog set. What are the dialog I'm going to use? I'm going to use a text prompt, number prompt. Those are available in the prompt package. So from bot builder dot dialog dot prompt import text prompt and number prompt. To define here, I'm going to use a text prompt. ID is required, so we call this text prompt and dialog set add number prompt number prompt. Next, we have to define the waterfall dialog. We have to define the steps now, how the steps should be executed. First, what we are going to get the user, no, their name or email ID or phone number. So those steps we have to define in the waterfall dialog. Once defined, waterfall will take care of all the things. In previous example, we have to we have to create one enum and enumeration. We have to, that enumeration we have to specify a first we have to ask a name, second phone number, second email ID like that. From here, it's not required. That controlled by the waterfall dialog. So waterfall dialog will take care of all the steps. We have to only define the steps. First username. That's it. So waterfall will take care of all the step of execution. Waterfall dialog, it's available in the dialogs namespace. So waterfall dialog and waterfall dialog step context. So dialog set add waterfall dialog. Again dialog is required and just called main dialog. In dialog steps we have to define. So self, okay, first we'll write the function so we can easily import it. Sync define, we are going to get the get username waterfall step context. So self waterfall step pass. Next, we have to define get mobile number. Self waterfall step pass. We'll write the code later. Pass. Next, get email ID. Pass. Once everything done, completed. Self waterfall step pass. So these are the dialog I'm going to use. So first, you have to specify the steps. First, get the username. Second, mobile number. Third, email ID. Fourth, once everything done, get completed. We'll talk about this completed. Okay, so define it. Get username, mobile number, email ID. Here we have to write the prompt. No, bot throw the message, please enter the name. We have to inform to the user, please enter the name. So that code we are going to write it here. Previously, we are using the turn contacts dot send activity to pass a message to the user. From here, we can directly get it from the waterfall step. No need to pass the turn contacts and use to something like that. Instead of that, we can directly get from here. Here we just write the message return waterfall step dot prompt In the prompt, we have to specify that what type of prompt this one, so that bot can validate the input also. Get username, we are going to use a text prompt. Okay, so it's handling the string message. Here I have to specify the same here. Dialog set we are using text prompt, no. So same prompt ID we have to use. That's the reason the dialog ID required here. Text prompt. Once this is no this information sent to the user, once user get the response, response to that message, bot internally validate the input from the user. Here we specify text prompt, so dialog set is a text prompt. This guy validate, oh, this is a text prompt. What type of this one? This is a text. This is a number. It's easily validate. Okay, so text prompt here. The next one is prompt option we have to specify. I will tell this one prompt option, that also we have to derive it. So it's available here, prompt option. Here we are going to write our application. Sorry, going to pass the information to the user. What type of input bot expecting? First, get username. So it's a text prompt. We have to use it. Return. Okay, come on. Return waterfall steps dot prompt prompt dialog ID. No, what type of dialog you are going to use. Here I am going to use a text prompt. The dialog already defined in the dialog set. Please reuse it. For that we have to pass the same, same dialog ID, text prompt. So here I'm telling text prompt. Next, prompt options. Prompt. Here, this is a in the bot, it's an activity. Prompt option is nothing. It's an activity. We cannot specify directly string underscore no double quotes. Please enter the name. No, that we should define in the activity. That activity object we have to pass to the prompt. Prompt will take care all the things. So we have to convert the text to the activity object. For that, bot providing one of the API called message factory. This message factory easily to convert our string to activity object. That available in the bot core. So message factory. Here we specified message factory dot text. Please enter the name. That's it. The same, sorry, same applicable for mobile number and email ID. Changes here is number prompt, and the text also change. Please enter the mobile number. Please enter the email ID. It's clear. So pass is not required. Finally completed. Once process all our questions and everything. Once everything is done, we have to call the end dialog to close this conversation. For that, we just called return wait waterfall dialog end dialog. That's it. Conversation over. Steps are clear. We have to define the dialog set, and in the dialog set we have to specify the what are the dialog we are going to use and how the execution it will go on, steps that we should define in the waterfall dialog. Waterfall dialog steps are so defined here. First, as the username, mobile number, email ID, everything done, call the complete method. That's it. As I said earlier in the diagram, first we have to check that dialog set, what is the current activity dialog. If the activity dialog is null, we have to start the conversation. Then the continue dialog, the execution will go on, continue. Once everything done, we have to call the end dialog to close the conversation. So first step, main logic, we have to check the dialog set. What is our current context? Okay. To handling this one, as I said earlier, all the conversation initially starting from the on turn context function only. It's already defined in the activity handler. We have to just override that method. Okay, as defined on turn turn context turn context. This function you have to check the data set. Okay, this function get hit first. Always this function get hit, invoked. First, we have to check this one dialog context. We have to check that our dialog context. What is our current position? Self dot sorry self dot dialog set. Using the create context, we have to check it. Here we have to pass the turn context as an argument. Sorry, this is not required. The dialog set, we are going to check what is current activity dialog. Active dialog is not none. It's not none. Then continue the conversation. Oh, sorry. Ish. Continue dialog. No, this guy is none. That means start the conversation, begin dialog. That begin dialog, we have to specify the dialog ID. Hey, in the dialog set, you have so many dialogues. Which one I need to start first? That's default. We have to start from the main dialog because the main dialog, sorry, we have to start from the waterfall dialog. Waterfall dialog only take care about all the steps. In the in the begin dialog, we have to specify. You have to start from the main dialog. So that we have to pass it here, main dialog. Make sure the dialog ID should be matched, otherwise the application don't work as expected. So this guy get hit. Here we have to check that what is the current context. If current context is null, then start the begin dialog. Next time hit that time this guy will check active dialog is already available. Then continue. Once this called continue dialog set automatically move from this point to this point. It's already this already we asked the user. So next I have to ask the mobile number. The flow it will go on and make sure it should be saved using the conversation state. Otherwise, always this guy is stateless. It will always, call the begin dialog only. We have to save our conversation also. Save the changes. Pause it, turn context. That's it. I hope the flow, everything is clear. Now, this is a folder. No, we have to convert this folder as a one of the local package. For that, I just add init dot pip file. That file just specified bot dialog import bot dialog. So all bot dialog, and to make sure here no error. Yeah, go to our main application. First import this bot dialog using bot dialog import bot dialog. Create the object for this one, bot dialog. Pause the memory, conversation memory, and in the main function bot dialog dot on turn pause the turn context. That's it. Remove the breakpoint, run the application. Started. Open the emulator, connect into the bots. Done. We not checked anything. That means previously explained about the activity types, no conversation update and message. Here we are not handling anything. That's the reason once you connected the bot, here it started. This guy checking the current dialog context. Any activity dialog is available or not. Activity dialog is not available. So it started the begin dialog. Begin dialog is the main dialog. It's a waterfall dialog. The waterfall dialog first step we have to ask the username. Get username. This function get called. Here please enter the name. Automatically the prompt will prompt to the user. Here I enter the name. Next it go to the next prompt, number prompt. Please enter the mobile number. As I said, suppose in case I am not enter the number, I am just enter something like that string. The bot internally validate the message. This guy expecting the number of input from the user, but user enters string. So this guy validating the input, the validation file. So again the same prompt it will get pop up. Please enter the number. Once I enter the number, it has to move to the next step. There's some problem. That's the reason it's not coming. Actually, next step is the email ID. Oh, it's coming. Maybe delay. And once number entered, then next prompt it will prompt email ID. We have to enter some email ID. Validate email ID. So my email ID this one order we know that at the rate live.com. That's it. Finally, this function get hit. Once the number enter, then automatically go to the next step, end dialog. Now we start hi message. It will start from the beginning because we called finally end the dialog. So the conversation get over. It start from the beginning. Here you can understand the steps. What is the dialog set and what are the prompt dialogue and how to use it. This sample, but still some of the thing is pending from this tutorial. I'm continuing with the next tutorial, like how to get the names. User input. Actually, user enter the their input. This is the name, phone number, email ID. But here we are not stored. Right now we just focus on only the prompt to the user. Once the user responds, we're not handling it. That's one that we'll talk about next tutorial. Thanks to all. We'll continue in next tutorial how to handling the user input. Bye.